on doing windows. And
Yeah,
my
I
wife
remember
was
you were doing
considering refinancing, but I said no because we just
Right.
refinanced and it'd be pointless to pay all that money
Right.
again. I'm going.
Oh, he's like, put your.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
You
sound
wanna
good.
hear anything.
Let me know if you can you hear me?
Yes,
can
I
hear
can.
you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me
Can
now?
you hear me? Ooh, oh, we might want to close that door. Anybody? No.
Holy,
Come on, I can't get the damn things to cover my ears.
No comment.
Last week, you made some awesome comments that I really wanted to type something, and I didn't because wouldn't have been appropriate.
Oh, I was like, wait, did I?
You had some
put my foot in
hilarious
it?
comments.
And it was probably all unintentional.
It was about the windows and the caulking. Do you
Just
remember
the
saying
word
that?
itself. Yeah,
I was laughing so hard. I was like, did he just
this
say?
is a family show.
Hi there.
Testing, testing.
Testing.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
No,
I actually don't talk like that.
yeah. I try to get a little comfortable. So
Yeah,
if you
try and
lean
get
back
close.
a little bit. Yeah, you can
That's
move
true.
move it to you.
Huh, that's true. But then I can't see my
I
freaking
did,
notes.
but Leon moved it, so
I angled it.
And I probably don't have to say this, but no licking the microphone. Just please no.
wow.
Wow.
That would have been a good
That's an
picture.
image.
That was an image. I wish I would have had you on Facebook.
Family show.
This is
not
not.
really a family
This
show.
is a family show. I've heard some of the other shows on this radio station that are not family
You
shows.
know, it depends on what family you're talking about.
Exactly. You
My,
haven't met
my,
mine.
my oldest son, his first movie was Pulp Fiction, and I think he was like a week old.
Really? What's wrong with you?
we wanted to go see it, and my wife was out of the hospital.
Well, does that really count if he didn't understand it or even be able to watch it?
I don't know. Well, if you know him now, maybe. I don't know.
How is he doing?
He's doing well.
He came in last night.
My youngest did. My
Justin?
oldest, yeah. Jay is.
Oh,
All
hi.
Hi,
We're just
Facebook
chatting.
Live. Yeah.
Oh, are we?
Thank you. 15 seconds. All right, a little bit high there. Now that I've shrunk down a little bit apparently in the past minute.
Whoops. Oh shoot.
Thank you. 15 seconds.
Oh shoot.
All right, a little bit high there now.
Helps if I turn the radio down.
Good morning, Houston. I can't tell you how excited I am to be pleasantly surprised today. Normally, I kind of go
Surprise.
into a little rant, but especially when Lauri's here, I like saying that. But I am so excited today. One, as always, having the Lauri Coppock, PrimeLending, Clear Lake branch manager, no longer
Howdy.
senior loan originator.
That's
so
right.
that was, and I finally got used to saying it that way. It just sounded really good. Now I'm confused.
Sorry.
'Cause Is it just
confused
branch
as well.
manager?
Yeah, it's just branch manager.
Okay, but
I
you
get
want to
that loan
specify
title.
it's Clear Lake.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
clear.
because you have several branches.
Correct.
Okay, so Clear Lake branch manager for PrimeLending. Now, here's the really exciting part. Someone I hardly get to see, but often hear about and talk about. Obviously, with the ACU thing going on, Mr. Jay Coppock, and he is the man with the plan, the leader of ACU of Texas, the Associated Credit Union. And I've got to tell you, it's really a pleasure having you on my show. Hi.
Hi.
Wow. You got to be the lead-in part. You can just jump in there.
Oh, I can jump in all the time.
I know you can.
First of all, two things. I've listened to the show, and you guys talk about me way too much. So I figured I would come on
That's
and
true.
somewhat defend myself.
Hey, it's always been good.
It's been very good. So, but the other side of it is that I am not the man over at the credit union. I have a lot of great folks that work for me, and that's just the way that it works over at Associated Credit Union. I've got a great marketing team, a great team of vice presidents that actually do all of the work. I get to
True.
be the guy that gets to come out and
that-
play
that's
a
what
little
makes a
bit. So
great leader.
That's what I have a lot of fun doing that, and so this has been cool. I'm glad to work with Vinyl Draft Radio and getting this studio set up earlier this year and being able to help you guys launch this program. It's been a lot of fun. So looking forward to it.
Well, and again, the reason I say you're the man, because I think leadership if you were a different type of leader, I think the people underneath you wouldn't be able to grow and be as great as they are, because they are. I told a story about ACU when I was there. Not only did you come down and say hi to me, and I met other people in there, but as my wife and I were sitting in there, we noticed, regular customers walking in there as well. And I'm a regular customer too, but I was never a customer before. So, but I just see, people come in and everybody's like, hey, yelling at their office to the people, how are you doing? And I thought that was pretty fantastic. So, guys, bottom line, we're just a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
And hopefully you'll add something to the show.
We'll
Since
see.
I made him come.
Yeah, you're under
Come to my show
protest, you're
today.
here. All right, so again, I want to reiterate and welcome the over 52,000 fans of I-45 now.
That's cool.
That
pretty cool.
is fantastic to see the videos playing on I-45 now live and repeated as well and being shared. So, guys, welcome. And again, if you haven't gone onto Facebook and signed on to I-45 now and see what it's all about, you should. It's kind of like a news station, but a local news station on Facebook.
I love it.
Absolutely.
You can get
Yeah.
all your news. I mean, it's just one click and
If it's happening down here, it's
Yeah.
like they have reporters and they have so it's really a
awesome.
fantastic site.
Great
so,
show.
And
so I wanna welcome the team.
TJ is a great supporter of this
TJ
area.
Alves.
Absolutely.
Yep.
He is fantastic. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out and
like
and,
them on Facebook.
Yeah, and while you're on there watching our video, click a like
I like
on
that
there.
segue.
Yeah, just try to do that. The thing about Facebook is we like likes.
There you go.
And that's the way you do it. I don't know too much about the technical aspects of things, but all I know is you want people to like and post and share. So just do that. Help us out. That'd be kind of cool. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about some things, but one of the reasons Jay is here as well is because of something that PrimeLending does, and it's called the PrimeLending Gives Back program. And Jay kind of was a big portion of this in ACU in terms of getting the family. So tell me
Right.
what the PrimeLending Gives Back program is, Lauri.
Well, actually, PrimeLending has a whole department. You can go into our portal and it's culture. So we have a whole culture department, and they send out things all the time, what other branches are doing and such. And every year at Clear Lake, we adopt a family for Christmas. We don't need anything within the branch, so we decide to, instead of exchanging presents and all that, we adopt a family. So we've done this every year for a while. Last year we did, I think for the past few years, we've done a family from a church from one of my employees. This year I decided ACU does so much with veterans, and PrimeLending also does so much with veterans. Like, we don't charge lender fees. We try and make it just a great experience for our veterans, and ACU has that same culture. So I called him. He runs Serve, which is his veterans group. And so I asked him to please vet a family for me, find out who needs the help, what kind of family. So I had him do that. He picked
Nice.
an awesome family. It was such a great experience. I can't wait to do it again next year.
Well-
We had such a good time buying for them and wrapping all the gifts. We had one person in our office, poor Joy. I made her wrap everything. She had all this wrapping paper. I'm like, okay, I don't even wrap the presents at home. Jay does that. So she wrapped everything for
I
me. This
know.
is true, yes.
Wow.
I don't like wrapping. That's a whole nother long story. But anyway.
She doesn't like wrapping.
No. I don't
Can we isolate some of these things for? I've got to be a year-end thing going on.
yeah, I don't like wrapping. Not M&M. Anyway, so I had him pick this family. This family was great. It was actually two veterans, a wife and a husband, and 3 kids.
Nice.
And we went to he works at San Jack part-time, so we went up there and presented them all this. And they were just so grateful because they're used to, veterans don't like getting the help. They like giving the help. So
Yeah,
it was kind of,
I
they
get
didn't
it.
ask for this help. They were found out by somebody else, and we just helped them. We didn't give them a choice.
That's-
But just so grateful. I mean, she gave me a card with a picture of the family in it. It was really awesome. Made
And see,
everybody
that's-
tear up because they're just such a sweet family.
And you can't make us tear up here. Okay, that wouldn't be right. But
Yeah.
I do know, Jay, you're very involved with Veterans Affairs as well, and I can only tell you I just hear about it a lot, and I one day will get to those meetings when I feel I have earned that right to be at those meetings. I will go. But you want to talk a little bit about those meetings you do?
Absolutely. First of all, not to bring in your personal side of this, but you earned it when you served, and that is
Exactly.
what this whole program is about. Serve stands for Southeast Resource Veterans Effort, and about 2.5 years ago, myself and 4 or 5 veterans that I knew individually got together to form this collective in the greater Gulf Coast area. There's a ton of fantastic groups in Houston, and a lot of veterans live in the Gulf Coast area, Galveston, Brazoria County. They just don't like traveling to get some of these services or get some of this information into Houston because of transportation or time.
Right.
And so I knew an individual that worked for a group called the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, Donnie Doffenbaugh. I knew another man named Sam Alex who worked for a group called CHAMP. There's a couple more people in that list, but what I found out was Sam didn't know Donnie, and Donnie didn't know Sam, and then Sam didn't know another one of the people in my group. And I said, well, you know what? I'm not a veteran myself, but I can network. I know how to bring people together. So I brought these 4 or 5 people together and started tell them your story, tell them what you do, what are your services, and how do we get this word out to other veteran groups in the area. And in August 2015, we started with 5 groups, including Associated Credit Union. And today we've got about 26 groups. And we meet once a month, and we network. And it's a very simple process. Tell them who you are, tell them what you do, and then ask for what is it that you need, what events do you have, how do we sponsor. And through that process, we were able to find the family for Lauri and PrimeLending to get somebody some Christmas that they may not have otherwise had. And through Harvey, we ended up getting 2 cars donated to veterans around town. One of them came from Las Vegas. The gentleman found us at Serve through a couple contacts, actually drove the truck down from Las Vegas and hand presented it to one of our veterans. And so it's an incredible group of people. My job is to make sure that people, understand that our veterans in this area are extremely important. Number 2, that they all know that they can come together and share their resources, share their information, and put that all together so that a veteran family knows where we're at and how to get them some help. So for yourself as a veteran, it's great for you to come in, and you don't necessarily have to participate, but you knowing what we do and who these organizations are, you may not be the person needing the information or the help,
right,
but you may know somebody that does. And that's the key to this. The success is based on who you know and how to get the information at that time.
And you meet on Thursdays?
We meet the second Thursday of every month at the main office of the credit union.
Okay.
You
will.
definitely need to go.
I do want to. I really do. Okay. All right, guys, we're about to go into our first commercial break. And in case you're just joining us, and right before we go into break, I want to make sure you all know that we have Lauri Coppock and Jay Coppock, Lauri from PrimeLending and Jay from ACU of Texas, Associated Credit Unions, in case you didn't know what the ACU stood for.
It's right below the tagline, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's above your head.
ACU,
I'm not looking that way.
I'm just throwing it.
Yeah. Thanks for throwing it out there.
We simplified it.
Yeah, I like the ACU part. It kind of rolls off the tongue. And then as soon as it was like, well, try to say the full name, I was like,
yeah.
So I was like, you get used to ACU. All right, folks. Like I said, we're going to take a quick break, gear up for a little more Q&A with Lauri and with Jay, and talk a little bit. And remember, check out I-45 now if you want to, but come on back to Vinyl
Come
Graph.
back to us.
Yeah, come back to us. And don't forget to if you have any questions for either Jay or Lauri, just send them to us, please,
Absolutely.
okay? All right, we'll be back shortly, guys.
You should. I can't hear the. Yeah, I turned mine down.
That's like, you can talk. It's okay. By the way, in case we're not talking just to random people here.
We're just talking to the
We
wall
have Neil
here.
Green here. He's going to be a guest next week. I'm hoping I get to see you next week. But we'll have more.
We
of
have
the
a studio audience.
Yeah, we'll have more of the Alinda Martin team here next week on the Real Estate Happy Hour. So he just wanted to come check it out. We'll just play it that way.
And if you'll do me a favor, next Thursday is my birthday. I would love a shout out on your show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thank you. That'd be cool.
Note.
Note to self.
Brown nose Jay Coppock
That's right.
again. Okay.
Oh my gosh, my allergies are killed.
All right. Hey, say hello to everybody for me, and
Hey, feel better.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Hey, feel better.
Thank you. See you guys.
Oh my goodness.
So, how's the keto diet going?
It's good.
Yeah, we could do a whole segment on that.
Well, we may have to, because I was kind of looking into it, and I kind of mentioned in my wife, like, this, and then last night we're at Whiskey Cake, or no, the night before last, and she started talking about maybe she'll do it for 30 days and see. I go, well, see, that's the thing about diets.
It's not a diet. That's where you're misinformed.
Well, and I guess when I take a thank you 1 minute,
Okay.
I take a little retrospect. So the retrospect is anything that changes what you eat or how you eat
Yeah, is a diet.
It is going to be a diet.
Well,
And
you don't
again,
need a diet. You look fine.
No, trust me, I know. I sit up straight because of this. And
I know, me too. I'm
very conscious about that. I know where my shirt folds at the end of the day. But what I'm saying is that here's the problem with diets, and I was telling this to my wife. No matter what you want to call it, here's the problem with them. They'll probably work. It depends on how much you want to put into it. But the moment you stop doing what you did to get there,
that's
you're
why
gone.
you can't really stop. This is really.
And so, are you going to
They
commit
call it
to
a way
that?
of eating.
Yeah.
Diet is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly.
See,
and if you have a
Leon knows.
lifestyle of cake and
But
Yeah.
isn't a diet also going back and eating all the things that are bad for you?
No.
That would
7
still be the
seconds.
same thing?
7 seconds.
That's your way of life?
you could call it a diet, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 7 seconds.
There we go. It's loud now.
What is that? Oh, that's what it is. I'm like, what is that? Click, click, click.
Doritos.
There he goes. I was wondering why we couldn't hear anything.
All right, welcome back to the Bringing It Home radio show. I'm your host, John Wilkinson, real estate agent with Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green. And today we are talking with Lauri Coppock, branch manager for PrimeLending, and our special guest, Mr. Jay Coppock from the Associated Credit Union of Texas.
Woohoo!
This way I don't have to say everything
right.
altogether. I'll just throw it out there. All right, so when we left, we kind of were talking about, well, the big thing we were really talking about before we left was talking about the PrimeLending Gives Back program. And we also talked about Jay's organization that he's with is Serve for Veterans. So, guys, if you didn't hear, going out, they meet the second Thursday of every month at the main office building for ACU.
Correct.
All right. So let's talk about lending stuff.
There you go.
First, I want to
you go.
ask, because you guys have kids, and they're older,
Yes.
Yes.
and they have grandkids and stuff. This is going to be the first holiday, and again, I don't know, this isn't about who celebrates what. This will be the first Christmas that we don't have both our kids with us.
Really?
Yeah, I always thought this would be the one holiday you always had your family.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that growing up.
Yeah.
So I kind of said this would be the one, but it makes sense. I just moved my oldest back to Washington, D.C. His live-in girlfriend got done working in Washington State, flew to D.C. We could fly them back here for Christmas, but they want to work. They're young. They're
Yeah.
like, we want to save money. We have
It's
to
also
make...
on a Monday, so it makes it a little.
Yeah, so
harder.
as much as they want to be here. So we're like, okay, but now it's kind of made a weird thing.
Yeah.
You guys have kind of been through the holidays with... Has any of your kids just not been able to make it?
Yeah. Was it 2 years ago?
3.
3 years ago, both of my son and daughter were in Israel for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So that was an interesting Christmas. Jay was a little bummed out.
It was the first time. I mean, just like you said,
Yeah, it was the
that
first
was my
time.
first time where we did not have Christmas morning at our house.
We
with-
celebrated before they left, but they were actually in Israel.
We didn't
so-
get that. We did the Amazon celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
we did it beforehand. So, but it was cool when they got back and they had a great time. And,
Well, see, they're coming back. Ours,
Yeah.
yeah, they came back. They all live. One's in Spring, one's in Houston, and the other one's in Pearland. So they're all fairly close.
It's one of those things, and as your kids get a little older, ours are not old because we're not old. Don't throw that out there.
I wasn't going to throw
But you
anything.
do-
I was like, what are you doing?
You're old, Jay.
You
I'm
do
not.
you do start to realize that family, it's always connected, but life happens, and as they get older, and my youngest son is now engaged. My middle child is married and has a child, and then my eldest is in a very special relationship, and they're probably going to get married. But there's also a 3-year-old in that relationship.
Right.
So in the course of the last 3 years, we went from
Yeah.
5 people to we're 8 with 2 babies.
family
And,
grew.
with that, you bring in their families and you bring in their sides, and you have to coordinate. And it was a little bit different for us this year because we have to coordinate with 3 other families as to what they're doing on Christmas and Christmas
Yeah,
Eve.
you have to.
So
it makes
it's a different lifestyle.
Weird dynamic.
and it happens. So you just,
Yeah.
you take as many of them as you can growing up, and you cherish every one of them, because one day they end, and it's not because anybody wants them to. It just happens.
Don't you want to go back to like the Rockwell? Like, I understand it. We're not upset with this
Right.
anything, but it is kind of weird, and we want to make sure we're not slighting the youngest, who we did fly home.
Right.
But we did notice there's less packages under the tree.
Right.
Yeah.
There's, it's I only put up half the yard decorations.
Oh,
little
no.
things
Don't even
like
go there
that.
with our yard. We
Yeah.
look like the Griswolds.
Yeah,
this year.
I used to, and I was like, do I have to do the border lights? And I was like, nah, So
Well, at least
we
yours
kinda
doesn't
feel-
dance to music. So.
We don't have
Not yet.
We don't
Ours
have.
does,
We don't
so.
have enough
I
lights
saw
in our
that.
yard.
Oh, my goodness.
You
This
can
is
never
gonna
have
be-
enough.
No, I need to outline
Really?
the yard.
You're not
I
helping
need-
me.
Yeah, I need to outline the yard. The
This was
trees,
not my idea.
I need to go higher on the trees. I'm just throwing that out.
That's
there,
where people
John. You
fall
come over.
short.
It's-
Yeah.
I know.
No. I don't. You know why you fall short? Because no one ever wants to wrap the trees.
Right.
I know. We've got a couple in Friendswood that
Oh, they're
off the
amazing.
Sunset that wrap
On
their
Sunset.
trees. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
Exactly.
gosh, they're unbelievable.
Yeah,
I
those
don't
are
have that
amazing.
kind of tree, but I don't have that many lights.
Yeah,
either.
the one house on Sunset that's all out there
blue
on the
tree.
road, and the
I
blue
love it.
one. Yeah, it's very nice to
Fantastic.
have there.
Very pretty.
Well, I just wanted your take on that. I want to throw out because I'm sure I'm not the only one. Before we get, and it has nothing to do with lending, but it
No.
does have to do with family, and
We
it
don't
does
have-
have to do with giving back.
It's okay.
so.
We don't have to talk about lending. We like
What?
talking about.
Yeah.
It just comes. And that's kind of why I had Jay on, and this is why I wanted to kind of do a show like this because we always talk about how we just like giving back to people, and it
Right.
just seems like it's like our business is secondary because you do all this stuff for the people, and then that just comes. It's you get what you give.
Right.
And we like doing that. So it's just
Well-
for us, it's fun, it's satisfying. We like to see those people very happy. We've just been very blessed. So we just
Well, we'll
wanna
definitely
give it
talk
back.
more about how you deal with the family thing at some point because like I said, it's kind of new.
Right.
We don't want to rip anybody off and the experience with people. But I do want to say I forgot to mention that Mo is here. So
Mo's in the studio.
Mo is in the studio as well. He's been on the table and he's been rather good. We don't have to clean up anything.
I know.
So
He's been
it's
quiet
good.
and
So we'll kind of put Mo
sweet.
like this, so it won't be on us enough. But
we like our Mo. Mo
Okay.
stands for momentum, by the way. That's
I was going to ask today. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
yeah, Mo is.
I
momentum.
was calling this a bull for the longest time.
It's a bison.
It's a bison.
It's a buffalo.
And then I tried to figure out where Mo came from.
Yeah. Well,
And that-
Plains Capital Bank, so you can kind of get the feel for that. And the
Right.
buffalo has always been our symbol, but Mo is momentum, and we actually have a real buffalo. Believe it or not, my my CEO, Alan White, they do have a buffalo and a ranch. So
does seem.
Mo.
it's and then we have a Mo that walks around.
we
You
don't
have,
have
the stunt Mo.
We have a stunt Mo. Yeah, he's
we
awesome.
don't have any
He gets a
animals
lot of
at the credit
attention.
union.
You're not doing all that fancy stuff over at
Yeah,
ACU.
we don't have a farm or a pen of.
Yeah, well, our corporate headquarters is in Dallas, so we epitomize the
That's
Dallas,
a new tagline
Texas.
for ACU. We don't have a farm.
We
We're
do.
not-
We have
yeah.
a ranch.
And Prime Lending is we have a ranch,
Yeah.
and ACU is we don't have a farm. Okay. What is the difference between a farm and a ranch?
I have no idea.
Is like one place you kill more animals than the other? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
I
a
don't
farm. A farm has cows. I guess
Leon,
you
get
can-
on that. Find out for us next break.
Leon's like,
Google
I'm
it,
not even
Leon.
listening. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some monies stuff.
There you go.
Because we know that there's people out there that are considering buying a home. So the first thing I want to mention is in real estate, people often think that, okay, this is the time that we don't, want to buy a home or sell a home. It's, holidays and
Right, it slows down.
It slows everything. And now it does slow down because people do think like that. But why, from a real estate agent's perspective, that's actually beneficial for a buyer, let's say, in this case, because there's still going to be houses for sale, and it may be the house that you want. You're in a much better position as a buyer because the pricing's not going to be crazy and it's not going
Right.
to be that competitive.
It's not as competitive, right.
Right. There's not going to be that where people are trying to, jack up the prices. So now is a good time to buy. And if you're a real estate agent, if you're one of those real estate agents that say, oh, this time of year I kind of slow down a little bit because everything else slows down,
All right.
I want to thank you because you don't. And I'm not. So thank you for doing that. So what I'm getting at is that for me, this is a great time of year for buyers to kind of step up to the plate. As lenders, do you see kind of the buyer activity pick up a little bit, or is it just level right
It's
now?
pretty level. I mean, this month actually was a little better than I anticipated, so I'm happy about that. I think some of it is post Harvey,
Right.
Because I'm getting a lot of. I told Jay for some reason this week, and I don't know if maybe it's just because veterans are on our mind. I've talked to 4 disabled veterans this week that are trying to do something or get VA loans, and it's a little unusual. I mean, I do VA loans, but it just doesn't come like that in clumps. So it's just kind of been some unusual activity, which is great because, again, Prime Lending doesn't charge veterans lender fees. We waive those for them. So it really helps them.
Do I start doing a comparison thing?
Yeah.
You know,
No, he's not here to talk about
Right.
mortgages.
Okay, gotcha.
No, but I will add this. You know, we have going back to the over the piece that we talked about giving. We've both been in the financial industry for almost 30 years, and while I'm only 6 months older than her,
Oh,
she likes to
shush.
throw that in my face.
Yes.
We are the same age right now, at least
Hey.
for a week.
So I can say a week, and then he's older.
But in the financial industry, what we have found is that we're not competitors. I mean, she has developed a system and a program within PrimeLending and in her previous companies where people go to her because of her skill set and who she is and how she conducts business. And same thing with the credit union. We have different people that we try to help. Now, we have started blending a little bit more with the veteran group, but that's okay. And our job is
Right.
let the veteran get the help. Let the
Right.
homeowner get the help.
That's
And-
the important thing, yeah.
and we don't compete. I don't go out of my way to do anything to take loans from her or vice versa. But I will say that what is really neat is that as a credit union, we have different set of circumstances or rules that sometimes we're able to help folks that Lauri cannot.
Like
simply
yours.
because of
I was going to say, I have
He did you a
personally
big
experienced
favor.
with
So,
that.
yes.
and that's a good thing. And so they don't lose the borrower doesn't lose anything from that. They actually gain because now they have a secondary source of maybe some help.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're cheaper or more expensive. It just means we have the ability to help in a lot more circumstances. When the traditional financing doesn't help.
Yeah, when you have to follow Fannie, Freddie, FHA, all those rules, which I do have other programs. I hate to use this word, I can broker stuff out if I want to. It just sometimes it's easier or better when I compare what he can do in-house in the credit union to what a broker would do. It's better for the customer, and that's what I'm
That's
always about.
ultimately what it is
But it's
about.
better for the customer. Maybe nobody from PrimeLending should be watching this, but that's my ultimate goal is to help the customer. So like with your client, because Fannie Mae said, and we tried to push that through Fannie Mae, and they were like, no. They stopped us at every turn. I just called Jay, and poor Jay. I may have forced him to do some things, but it's like, hey, you
Don't
need to help
force
this.
anything.
You need to help this lady, and he can do that. I'm like, just call her, and he
Right.
did, and we got it closed, and she was happy.
And everybody happy, and that was a big thing,
Yeah.
and that's why I know what you're saying is true. It's not just a bunch of fluff or just because your wife's sitting next to you. And be honest with you, I'm right there with you when it comes to real estate. People are like, why are you doing a segment on real estate and inviting other realtors on?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. I was like,
No, it makes a lot of sense. Actually, they're not
I
thinking
was
big
like,
picture.
Yeah, I was like, everybody has to do a good job out there.
Right.
And the bottom line is the buyer or seller, it's going to be a personality thing, and it's going to
Exactly.
be, what works better for you, what I have to offer. That's what it's about, giving
it's
them
not-
choices.
And you
Yeah.
made the comment about it slowing down in December for realtors. Well, you got to remember a good portion of both of our business is not realtor based. It's refinances, it's referrals, it's redoing loans.
I'd say
Yep.
50% of my
you know,
business
5
is
years, 5 years
referrals.
ago.
Yep.
But and the other is that bigger banks like PrimeLending, Chase, Wells Fargo, they may do some home improvement or some second liens to help folks out with maybe renovating a bathroom or whatever. They now have programs where they can do that with a first. But some people just want to do a home improvement loan.
They don't
Some
want to touch
people-
their first. Yeah.
Correct. Or some people just want to take a little bit of cash out to do certain things and not touch that first lien. Well, a lot of folks don't do that, and I know we're going to talk about the new home equity law, which is going to make it easier for lenders like PrimeLending to get into
Yes,
that.
finally.
But it's a great referral source. Well, some of my best business comes from other lenders and other banks and credit unions simply because we all do things a little bit different.
Right.
And if you're not out there talking to other realtors, if you're not out there talking to other lenders, and you're not trying to help the people in your community, then you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a community-based
I just don't think
organization.
you'll have the long term like we do. Like I've been doing this almost 29 years now, and Jay's the same way. We've been doing this a long time, so.
Well,
There's a
I
reason
can
for that.
definitely see it, and it was good just from an experience to see that. Again, I think all businesses benefit. There's always going to be a little competition. It could always be friendly, but at the same token, you're going to have your own customers that are unique to you,
Right.
And I feel you on that. So I think it's great. I want to do a quick hello to Miss Kelly Williams, and
Hey,
she says,
Kelly.
I
Hey,
do love
Kelly.
ACU of Texas. Little more brown nosing for Jay Coppock.
Thanks, Kelly. I needed that today.
Yeah, that's what we need. Well, what's going on at the Coppock residence?
You guys are killing me.
Yeah, bringing them home.
We
Well,
just
we're
like, we like torturing Jay. It's
That's
fun.
it. It
He's
is
an easy
always
target.
fun stuff. All right, guys, we're about to head into break 2. So it is a perfect time to basically top off that cup of joe, use the little boy or girl room. If you're driving, don't do any of those. But if you do have any comments, questions for Lauri or Jay, now's the time.
Ask away.
Or you can just say hello. That's always nice to say. A little thumbs up is okay. We're okay with emojis, certain emojis anyway. Other than that, don't forget, give us a quick like, share us, let everybody know that these two fine people are here sharing their wealth of information. And we will be back shortly. You're listening to the Bringing It Home radio show.
Speaking of emojis, this is hilarious.
Is
My
there a
company.
Mo emoji?
This is what we came up with. So the other thing we do, this is why I like Prime. They're just hilarious. We, because of our culture, we try to compliment people that have done stuff, within the company. So we give out emojis, and they're hilarious. Like, yeah, we do. We really do. It's pretty funny. So somebody helped me out the other day. I'm doing a construction renovation loan. Oh, it's a fun one. And this person in the renovation department helped me with this loan because the way they do these is kind of complicated. So I gave her an emoji for, I think it was one team, one purpose. That's one of the emojis.
That's funny.
I know. So those are really hilarious. We try and give those out to the people
Now
in
you
our
need
company.
to start making the emojis for the iPhone 10 that move with the mouth.
Oh,
Now
I'm
you
not
make
getting
those.
the iPhone 10.
I didn't.
I can't.
I got the 8.
Transferring to the 7 was a nightmare, so we're not doing
I
that
went to
again.
8 and everything was good. The reason I didn't want the 10 was plain and simple. For $200 more, I basically got, 3D stuff and facial recognition. I was like, you know what? I'll wait.
listen, I know what I
Not
look
worth
like.
it.
I don't need the phone
Yeah,
to
exactly.
do that. So my thumb works just fine.
I just like the little thumbprint. I'm okay with it.
I was trying to. You can. I know I'm giving Jay a lesson in
I know how
Facebook.
to do it.
I know, but I didn't.
We should be
realize you could
focusing
share.
on you guys now, just doing this. This is funny, just watching.
Yeah,
Hey, thank you. Oh, wow. 1.5.
Left?
1.5.
No.
No, I mean in the commercial.
In the commercial, yeah. I was like, no, Jay. I know time flies here, but we're only halfway through.
So you can. I thought when you share it, when you share it with everybody, does it invite everybody? Or
It
am
sends a
am
little
I driving
pop-up.
everybody
It does
nuts?
It sends a pop-up that says Lauri is live right now.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you invite people, it's different? Oh.
The man in
No
my ears
wonder.
is contradicting me. I love it. Nothing.
The man in my ear. That's Leon. The man in my ear. I'm going to start
I have a
referring to him.
voice.
I'm not. Never mind. I'm not going to go anywhere with
What's
that
funny
stuff.
is that was one of the few times that it didn't sound like Lauri contradicting me. That's unusual.
I don't know.
Where did
Leon
that
does
come
my
from?
name pretty well, so
Lauri Coppock.
that's hilarious.
You know what I just realized by you saying that? I don't have. All I have on this is the ability to share it. Am I right?
Well, if you... Oh, well, you got 10 seconds to figure it out. How about that?
Share it later.
Well, thank you.
And the
Oh, I got it now. All right, folks, welcome to my house. So, welcome back. I'm your host, John Wilkinson, and you're listening to the Bring It Home radio show. Now, we're about halfway through
Wow, that
this
went by fast.
love fest between the Coppock
Aw.
family, Mo, and myself. So, it's really nice to have you guys here. Thanks again for sticking.
you for having us.
This is
Yep.
probably Jay's last time. He's like,
Nah.
nah.
We'll see.
No, we can always have you in here, kind of ornamental. It'd
Yeah.
be nice. Yeah.
Ornamental.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Ornamental.
Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to.
Don't get him started.
Something was going there.
Yeah.
All right, so we have already talked about a couple things. So if you are just joining us, you're just too late for that.
That's
but
right.
you can always go
Rewatch
back
it.
and watch this video. And plus, we'll post it again along with some follow up from these two within a day or so. So you'll be able to Watch this in its entirety at your convenience. I can't wait till they come out with a thing where you can actually stop in some place and then go back and watch it.
That would be nice.
And still be able to do the Facebook stuff.
Right.
But that's coming up, I'm sure.
Yes.
One day.
One day it'll be there. All right, so before we left, you kind of alluded to this, Jay. Let's talk a little bit about the Texas home equity laws, because they've
Yes.
changed. Now, first off, before you tell us how they've changed, what the home equity laws, how did they affect us to begin with?
So let's go back 17 years.
Oh, my. We've only got
Yes,
30 minutes
I
left.
know.
All right.
No, they actually changed, and this will go into another tangent about the one time that Jay and I actually worked for the same company, Washington Mutual. So when I worked for Washington Mutual, we call that my 9-month, I had a secret baby time.
Wow.
I work
Secret
for-
baby time.
I'm just kidding.
Another
I
We're
quote.
looking for year-end stuff. She's just going to give it to you for free.
I worked for
there we go.
Washington Mutual for 9 months. During those 9 months, the home equity laws for Texas came out in the year 2000. And it was an interesting time because it was a law that they slammed through. They wanted something where we could pull cash out of your house. We never had that. But it wasn't a good law. Just the realtors, nobody liked it. But they slammed it through because we needed something, so they passed it. Well, it's taken all this time, 17 years, I can't believe it, to redo this law so it makes it a little bit easier for you to get money out of your house. So it's still the same as far as you have to have the 20% equity. That has not changed, which I believe that's actually a good thing. I don't want to be California. They can get it 125% or something like that, and that's why they had all those problems. So I'm happy about that. But they did change the rule, the 3% rule. There was a rule with home equity that your fees could not exceed 3%, which could lead to higher rates.
Right.
Because the lenders we had to do something. It was very confusing. The law was very vague, and so certain lenders counted like discount points, like when you buy down the rate
Right,
and
when you
such,
buy
and
down.
some didn't. It was extremely confusing. So they eliminated that. Now this sounds weird. Now there's a 2% fee cap, which you'd think would be worse, but they eliminated. It doesn't include title, appraisal, third party, that kind of stuff. So basically now, instead of not being able to do a loan, I'd probably have to do a loan for about 125 before to make it work. Now I can do a loan for whatever amount. Like I'm doing a $50,000 one with no problem because I don't have that cap anymore. So that's one thing. And then the other thing was they took away the once a cash out, always a cash out rule.
Huh?
So when you cashed out in Texas, if you wanted to refinance again,
Right.
they called it a cash out. So we
Okay.
had to price it and do the 12-day letter that they make you do, and all those rules
All right, I
apply.
see.
You don't have to do that anymore. As long as you wait the 12 months, you I don't know if you can waive escrows. I have to check on that. This just changed, so I apologize. I'll find out.
Yeah.
So
Good follow-up.
it is still the 20% rule. You got the 2%. You have to wait 12 months, and then you can call it a regular rate term refinance. So you don't have to follow those cash out, as long as you're not cashing out again. Now, if you're cashing out again, that's different.
Right.
You can, but you can do a rate term.
Someone
now.
like me, I keep bringing this up because we're just looking at different ways to do our windows. We keep getting quotes. It looks like it's around $15,000. That's what we're going to have to pay to get our windows done in Galveston County.
But you have a first lien that's got a pretty decent rate.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And
I would call Jay.
but here's the thing that I didn't know how this would affect that. Here, we could. One of the window companies would finance us, no
Right.
problem, but it's like 6.99%.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's much different with a lender, so that's one of the reasons I gave Joe
Well, the
a
rate
call.
would be like lower with
I
a lender.
didn't know. That's one
Yeah.
of the reasons I
Yeah.
called. But in terms of equity, would that be lower? Like if we did a home equity thing, which doesn't sound like we would
You
do
can do home
anyway.
equity or home improvement. You can go a higher loan to value. So that might be. That's why I said I would call him and go
Okay.
over that with him. That might be better for such a low amount for $15,000.
God bless you saying 15,000 is such a low amount. That
That is for a mortgage lender. It
I
is
know
a
it
low
is.
amount.
You usually
For
get hung
a
up on
credit
if you
union,
ask
maybe
for that.
not.
Well,
What is that? Slamming the credit union?
Well, it's not slamming anybody.
No, it's just that he can do it.
Yeah.
The issue with the 3% rule for a lot of folks was that 3% included an appraisal, and if an appraisal is $500 and you're doing a loan for
$50,000,
that's already 2.5% of the fee. You still have title fees, and there are special endorsements for a home equity loan, which adds another 25% on top of what you already pay for title.
Exactly.
So it was all said and done. A $50,000 loan would end up having about 7% worth of cost. just because of the simple math behind it. Now, so a lender,
Then you got a high rate. It's just crazy. It was crazy.
and the state said, if you do that loan, you cannot charge that borrower more than 3%. So if it was a 7% fee, the lender ate the other 4%.
Gotcha.
Or
And
charged
so,
you.
or charged a lot higher rate, which made
Right.
it, most people are like, well, I'm not going to pay 9%.
It's not worth
for
it.
Well,
Yeah.
then you
Correct.
you have the issue with the TRID, because you can't do that.
Right.
So you literally could not do these.
Yeah.
I mean, because you had the whole HOPA, or you just had all these laws. So you had the laws contradicted. It was confusing. But
It made
anyway,
it
we're
very
just happy
hard.
it passed. We were thrilled, and I'm happy to say PrimeLending was a huge advocate. We have, and his name just escaped me, but he's one of the guys on the floor
Right.
of like Congress. Like he's the advocate, PrimeLending. He's the guy. So he gets involved in.
I'll give you PrimeLending.
He's the guy. He is, like, he's a big wig.
Is he the same guy that has the?
No, he does not wear the costume.
But does he own?
Gene. His name's Gene. So I just remembered his name.
He's the
Poor
guy.
Gene.
There we go.
I don't even know
Yeah.
Gene, but I feel bad for
I was
Gene.
going to say, way to
Gene's
go,
the
Lauri.
guy.
Lauri
He's the
goes
guy.
back.
He
What
is the
title
guy.
am I going to call you next month when you come
He's
in?
in charge of all that. So he did a wonderful job getting us all involved, like calling your congressman. I mean, really, it was a big deal. We had
Right.
to push this law through, and we're
Well,
very
the-
happy it went through.
And the big change again for having to go back to a traditional rate term refinance, there's not a large rate increase between a home equity loan and standard financing. There could be a little bit of one, but when you go to do title work, you had that 25% increase in premium because it was a Texas, because they had to file certain endorsements, because they had to file certain things. So just in a fair fight, if you refinance your house 12 months later, all things being equal, even if you paid the exact same amount for the appraisal and everything else, you would spend less money on title fees simply because you no longer have that
Correct.
endorsement that was required by the state, because now it's no longer considered a cash out
Right.
product. It just becomes a traditional
So
everyday.
it's less expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
All
cool.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
If that makes all
Oh,
sense in
and
the
one
world.
other thing is, if you want to do a cash out now, call me. But there is this thing called a black hole. Because
Love
of the
it.
law, I know John loves all my terms.
black hole of lending.
The black hole of lending. Well, because of the law, and it's after December 18th. So unless we close you this month, which you can't, I can take the loan application, but I have to redisclose to you on January 1st with the new equity 12-day letter. So the first time we can close you is January 16th. So just know between that time you can't. By law we can't close you, but it's not that big a deal, because what is it, the 21st today? So
Yeah, no,
we're already
that's-
getting to
that's all right.
the end of the month. But if
Yeah.
you want to do it, I could definitely take the loan application, get everything started, and then on January 1st I just redisclose and
And
move
just so I can
forward.
throw that out, if you're interested, you can go ahead and just right now, you could send an email to Miss Lauri Coppock.
Definitely.
And her email, I have this,
Yay.
Coppock, LCOPPOCK @primelending.com.
That's it.
If
Or just
you
go
didn't
to my
have it,
website.
I did.
Yeah, Jamie, but
Or just go to
I should test you.
lcoppock.com.
Yeah, I was going to say the even easier.
That's my website.
Coppock.
I changed that a long time ago. It's
Yeah,
just a lot easier.
I'm her guest, so
That's
we,
right. He's
we
my
won't-
guest.
And my website's behind you, so
There
I
you
really
go.
don't have to
Hey,
tell
see, text-
anybody. So
te-
yeah, that's all
text.org.
there.
Yeah, I
Acutics.
Acutics.
okay,
Never heard that before.
we're going to have to stop saying acutics. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Wow.
Here we go. Mess with the sponsor as soon as they walk
Anyway,
in.
that's
there
kind of
first time.
the quick rundown of cash out, and I will follow up with that on the page as
Yeah,
far as
you
the,
give us
the
a little
rules.
sheet. We'll definitely
Like the
put
changes,
It, yeah,
yeah.
we'll put it out there.
I'm sure
in
I've got
2
a marketing
days.
piece somewhere. I'll find
Just-
it.
That's what I really need, because that's what people want.
Yeah.
They want that quick at a glance stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So I'll be able to do that. All right, guys, we are about to take our final break of the show. How
Wow.
about that?
That was fast.
If you haven't gotten any questions in, you probably don't have any that you know of. So at least check in and say hi or something,
Yeah,
and let us
say
know.
howdy.
But don't forget, if you have questions and you're watching the video later on, you do have questions, you will have access to Lauri and Jay, and you can make comments on the site. We will answer them. You can call them directly. We'll get the numbers for everybody out there on all the posts that we have. This way you can call them back. Now, we did talk a little bit about kind of stuff that's going on. You said you had to, the PrimeLending standing on the floor of Congress, the guy.
The guy. We do have the guy.
So I kind of do want to briefly hit and get your take on how the new approved tax law might have affected, because they asked realtors to get involved in this because of the way it affected mortgage insurance. So if I'm correct. So I want to get your take on that stuff real quick before we go into some other stuff.
Uh-oh.
Is that good?
That's good.
All right, guys. Yeah, just making sure. I just want to remind people, buying a property is a big financial step. I'm talking with two people that you should probably reach out to and talk to about lending. So anyway, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Ooh. Yeah, I wanted to mention about the FHAR overlays going away. Like
Right.
You can do 580 and all that stuff.
Let's see.
And investment properties. I'm excited about that as well because I'm
See,
doing an investment
I
property
get
now for
I get that
State.
talk about. I've only checked off three
Oh my
things.
gosh,
out
him and
of,
his cards.
This one's not typed. This one I have to type. This one, for some reason, it didn't print out. So
We love John's cards.
I didn't
they're
do
going to be
it.
collector's items one day.
We're putting him in a museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cards are not so appreciated. Let me just tell you that by everybody.
This is my first time here with you. I love them. Thank you.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you for.
Well, thank you. That's because you're not a recipient
up.
of them. If you get a card, apparently that's not a good thing.
Yeah, if you get a card.
Yeah, if you get a card.
I've never gotten a card. So
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's awesome.
I always have little thoughts and comments and notes, and I like to share them sometimes, and apparently that's not so appreciated so much. So I'll just keep them to myself.
Not so appreciated.
Wow. Poor John.
I know.
Yeah.
Nobody appreciates him.
No,
That's just
I'm the
sad.
glutton for punishment. I totally feel appreciated. I totally feel, that I'm with family when I'm here. So
You
don't
are.
worry about that.
I would tell you, I get picked on a lot, as Lauri alluded to earlier.
He does. He's
Probably-
an easy target. He's kind of like you, John.
But I also
Wow.
I also dish it out. And what I have
Oh my
learned
gosh.
in my few years on this earth is that it is much harder to have fun and pick on somebody than it is to just ignore them and not like them. And so
you go.
the more people pick on you, it truly is
The more people
they
love
like
you. Yes, it's
Because
true.
they have to go out of the way to hear and listen about stupid things about you to repeat them. So they're paying attention.
You put too much thought into that, by the way, but you may do whatever
I
it
get
takes
picked
to
on
feel
a
good.
lot, yeah.
No, he does. If he doesn't pick, if he's quiet and doesn't talk to you, that's not a good thing.
No,
If he's picking on you, he really likes you.
that's the good thing. It's like a family environment anyway.
Ask
in
my
the,
kids.
in the area.
Oh,
Kids pick on you?
my kids are horrible.
He picks on
They
them.
pick on me.
They pick. Well,
They learned that
Like-
from her,
really? Ask him who my son got the sarcasm from. No,
Lauri.
absolutely not.
She asked her if she thinks that her son is
I'm not getting
exactly like
between
her. Yeah.
Well,
Because
he
see?
actually is exactly
There
like
you
me.
go.
But that's true.
Except
I
Le-
guess
Leon helped me
can't,
out.
I can't argue with that. He is exactly like me.
Leon's like, you know what? They're just babbling now.
Leon's ignoring me.
He's fixing something.
Lori's
to-
show. It's Lori's show,
It's
so
my show.
something's going
Exactly.
wrong.
You're just my guest. Remember that. My show. You're the guest.
I know. Thank you, honey.
I know. Oh my gosh, Leon.
Yeah, a lot going on here. Like,
It sounds like they're tap dancing in the hallway down here. So if you can hear that, we apologize.
2
wow.
seconds.
Oh, the intro.
We're professionals.
All right, we are still live from the Associated Credit Union of Texas studio
Still
in
live.
Houston, Texas,
There you
which
go.
kind of makes sense. I'm your host, John Wilkinson, a real estate professional, and the guy bringing you these two, Lauri Coppock and Jay Coppock. Coincidence? Nope, they're
Nope.
married. And they're in the money business, but not the same money business.
Yeah.
It's
Somewhere,
kind of-
but not.
Yeah, it's in the same arena, but different homes.
It's all about the people.
That's
It
all
is.
right. It's a good blend.
It is.
We merge well together in marriage and in work.
That's good. It's a partnership. It
definitely is.
You know what I said? We've already talked about it. It's not really a competition thing. There's people who need money out there that will fit perfectly for each of you. It's the same for real estate. Real estate agents, they'll fit for there. It's not always about just going out and trying to get everything. It's getting the right things. So we've got a couple more things to talk about in this last segment of the show. We've talked about quite a bit. If you are just catching the show now, there's no way we're going to go through any of that stuff. But again, you can refer back to the video. And if you're watching it in the future and at this point now, just know that you've probably already watched the beginning part. I've just confused myself.
Wow, that's really convoluted.
Yeah,
John.
I
That
just
was
confused
awesome.
myself on that.
Like
So
a
we're gonna
movie
get
or something.
Yeah,
Wow.
You never would want me to write a movie. We'd be so in the rabbit hole, we wouldn't even know what's going on at the end. It'd be
Alice
considered
in
an art
Wonderland.
film. Yeah, it'd be
John
an
in
art film.
Wonderland.
Yeah,
We just made up a new movie.
there it goes. All right, so let's talk about what I like is there has been a change in FHA scores. I heard a rumor.
Well, it's not FHA scores. It's been a change in prime lending. Woo! Okay, so we lifted some, or we changed some things this past year that have really helped homeowners. We now go down to 580 on FHA. We were, so when all of 2008 happened, all hell broke loose in the mortgage industry, a lot of things shifted and changed. At one time, we were at a 640. You know, lenders started pushing up those scores because of subprime and the whole nine
Right,
yards.
right.
Well, then we dropped to 620, 600. Now we're at 580.
So are we starting over again?
Yeah, we're kind of, but not really.
We're going to be
Since we-
protective of the bubble this time.
Yeah, we're really. So when I say you have to have or you can have a 580, you have to have a 580, and it has to go through the automated underwriting system.
The last
DULP.
bubble was unique because it wasn't one thing. It was
Yeah, it was
five things.
Exactly.
It was
Everything
appraised
came to a
values.
head.
It was
Right.
low doc or no doc loans that were just not even, people didn't even attempt to gather or verify income.
Yeah, remember
And
Fast and Easy?
Right, everybody was getting a loan. Yeah.
Countrywide's all Fast and Easy, and I can say that now because they're no longer. But that
you
was
had you had-
ridiculous.
You had two presidents in a row, Clinton and Bush, that both said everyone will own a home, and that kind of that edict in the in the mid '90s all the way through 2005 when things started really going bad. That 10-year period of time, it was go out and get a home, and
Right.
We
we'll
did the
take care of it.
breathing test on you,
Yeah.
and if you could breathe, you got a home. And we remember, I
every
was in there.
lender
then.
had a mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You can get a loan. I
So
got
some
you.
of the corrections that were made with the CFPB, there are some that are very good. There was also some that were very
Kinda crazy.
Very bad,
overreaching
right.
and so forth. So and lenders have had to adjust quite heavily. And credit unions, for instance, that are very small, got out of the mortgage lending
Right.
business because it was so cost prohibitive and very regulatory prohibitive. Because even though we're a credit union, we still have to follow pretty much the same rules.
Right.
And we just can't give away the store because credit unions, if you take the size of Associated Credit Union of Texas, there are certain banks out there that they have one or two branches that are bigger than our entire credit union. And so structurally, we have to be a lot more prudent with what we do because we have, a different type of member base that we're trying to protect.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so that bubble hit, but we're at 580, protective 580, but we will do it if it goes through automated underwriting. We can get it through, and I'm doing a lot more now with, not necessarily. I haven't actually had anybody with knock on wood, with 580 do it, but I am doing one right now. I guess it's like a 603, and it went through, and
Yeah, and
everything's
it's,
going good.
I mean, and I guess the big thing to take from this is that,
It depends on why your score is that low.
yeah, there's a lot involved besides just the score. The score's got to be kind of, because if you don't have the score, then obviously it's completely out there.
Right, but sometimes you can have the score at a 660 and have one trade line and it won't go through. So it really,
Right. There's
every
a lot that
situation
is
is unique.
involved
So
in
just
that.
because you go to Credit Karma, which don't, but if you do and you check your score.
Credit Karma, the
yeah,
Zillow
don't.
of the lending world.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Call me, I'll check your real score and then we'll see what we can do. Because just because you think you have a 670, you probably don't, and then we can push it through. Because people say that all the time. I check my credit and I have to say,
Yeah.
where did you check your credit on? And we could do an entire 9 shows on credit one day.
All right, next week, there we go. Show one.
There's
Yeah.
just so much
And the Magic
misconception
8
about credit. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, the Magic 8 Ball is not a good place to get your credit score
No.
from either. Don't you shake it too hard; it'll tell you what you want to hear.
I know,
Okay,
which
maybe
we
do
do.
have to talk about those windows then. No, just kidding. I get it, and I understand there's a lot involved, and that's one of the reasons I love having experts like yourselves on, because you find out a little bit more and more, and what you thought you knew can always be tweaked a little bit, even as a real estate agent, and you start dealing with it. Every time I work with a lender, and again, the last transaction I've done with Lauri, which ultimately turned into doing with you guys at ACU.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You learn
Thanks,
things.
Fannie Mae.
Yeah, you learn
Yeah,
things.
thanks, Fannie Mae.
And it made me a better agent. But believe it or not, I mean, the ability of ACU to do this for my client and the desire to get it done by Lauri at PrimeLending for my client made a big impact on my client and myself about both of your businesses.
When I take a loan, that's one thing I always tell people, and I tell my loan officers this too. When we take a loan, we're going to close it. I mean, I know that sounds weird. It's like if you can't, obviously, if you don't qualify, or we'll help you through that process. But if I actually take the loan and that, I want to make sure you're going to get that home, whether I do it or not. And that's just, I'm not going to do like Bank of, well, I shouldn't name names. But anyway, that other lenders where they have people, on the phone, and then they take all your information, they put it through underwriting. I'm sorry, you're denied.
Right.
What? That just freaks me out.
That's
I'm
a
like,
little
how do you do that to
heartbreaking,
people?
too.
It is.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
So you'll know within, a couple days or whatever that this is going to work or not. So I'm there to help you. Not, and if I can't do it, I'll call Jay.
If it's possible, then we just call Jay. It's like so we need to have like there was a bat phone. We need to have something similar
I do
to
have
that.
a bat phone. Oh, where's the phone, honey?
It's over there. Oh yeah, it has its own special ring.
I was going to say, is there a ringtone? Can we hear that?
No, probably not a good idea.
It's not bad.
Just kidding.
All we have to do is hold it up to the mic. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
All
But
right.
anyway, so that's kind of
Believe
what
it
we
or
do.
not, the ringtone is the song "This Is What It Feels Like" because I used that for her 50th birthday.
Did you just tell people I was 50?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
I said that because you're not 50.
She just has
Wow.
it. He just has it for the 50th when that eventually.
Yeah, when
Oh,
it
thanks,
happens.
John.
For
I
the
love
third
him.
for the
I'm just
third
trying.
time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Third.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just getting slammed over here.
Oh, I'm not exactly. I had to come back and defend myself. Anyway, go, John.
All right. Here's the thing. We've got
We've got husband and wife
We've got about
squabbling.
3 minutes. No, I can sit here and listen to it all day because it's better than me and my wife squabbling. We got 3 minutes left now, a little bit less. Let's talk briefly, as brief as we can, but as thorough as we can. Can we handle that? Removal
not.
of the overlays.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. It's about investment properties.
Yeah, okay, so we had some on investment properties where you couldn't purchase a home over our state lines. Like, I could only, Texas, that was it. Well, now I'm actually doing one, the people are in Singapore, buying a home in Texas for investment, so I can
But
do that
not the
now.
other way around.
No, I can't do a loan for you in Singapore, sorry.
I need a Bahamas home, guys.
I
I'm
know,
trying
he's
to.
been asking me about that.
Haven't
Yeah,
fa-
I do loans and all. That's another thing. We are a national lender. People always think, can you only lend in Texas? No, I can lend anywhere. So keep that in mind. We do have a national lending center. So if I have to be licensed in one of the states, I just send it to them and
Right.
they can do that as well. But anyway, yeah, so investment, that's cool. Any kind of overlays we had on investments, trying to think of what some of the other rules were. Now it just flipped out of my head. But anyway, they're all gone.
It's gone.
So,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter now. They're
I'll post them.
This time you can-
Golly,
you
my
can-
brain just went.
You can see. I save it to last,
I know,
and I hit it
thanks.
with her. She's like,
I was like,
no.
that coffee hasn't kicked in.
Right.
All we have to walk away with that is that you can now help a California investor,
Right, exactly.
or an Idaho investor,
Yes.
or that wants to invest in Texas, which is a great place.
Well, a lot of people want to
invest.
because of the Harvey thing.
Yep.
I'm getting a lot of stuff.
And
on
I
that,
will
so.
be quite honest with you. I have real estate contacts out of state in California, in New York, in
They-
North
they
Carolina,
love
in
Texas.
Canada. I don't know
Yeah.
if Canada works though because it's international, so I don't know. If
Get it?
Hey.
Hey.
Was that your attempt to say
Yeah, that was wrong.
I've been to Canada a couple times. I
That
still
sounded
don't.
like,
I don't know what it
All
was.
right.
We'll work on it.
We definitely have a whole bunch of
Wow,
sound
it's a
bites
good
to
thing it's the
isolate on
end
this
of the
thing.
show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, listen, guys. I want to thank Jay and Lauri Coppock. Lauri Coppock's with PrimeLending.
Yes,
LCOPPOCK.com. And you can go to her website. You can get in touch with her there, or you can email her at lcoppock@primelending.com.
Correct.
And I have Joe's number. So Jay, give us the website.
Really, it's right behind
It's
you.
right behind you.
And I'm pointing this time ACUTX.
He's pointing on the radio, people.
.org. Hey, because I know we're Facebook Live.
There you go.
And it helped me read it.
Okay,
So
there you go.
We're going to have it. What we don't have is the phone number.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Next, when we
Say it.
redo it.
The easy number is 800-833. Now you made me go crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you not remember your phone
I
number?
do. You did, but it was one of those weird
All right,
moments.
go to this site.
I've affected him.
And we are going to be going. Okay, next week, guys, we have the real estate,
mine.
the real estate happy hour.
Woohoo.
Thank you, Jay and Lauri. Always love having you. Thank you, Mo. You're welcome. All right, bye, guys. Till next week.
Bye-bye. Thank you for having us.
Show is off the rails.